What's going on, everybody? My name is Mantif and welcome back to a brand new YouTube video. I've gotten a lot of requests, especially on the Q&A thing, to showcase how I make my Minecraft very smooth and how to render in a high FPS. First off, I use OBS Studio to record all my gameplay, whether that's Minecraft, CSGO, or Fortnite, and I believe it's a huge help recording in a high FPS because it definitely showcases a lot of smoothness in the video you normally wouldn't get with something like 30 or even 60 at times. Oh, and on top of that, it's very satisfying to watch. And if you're hoping to improve your video quality, especially in games such as Minecraft, this is a huge step in the right direction. So yeah, I guess this is the part of the video where I showcase my settings. Alright, so we're at my beautiful desktop here, and as you can see, I'm on OBS Studio. I have my game capture and my webcam for when I want to do face cam, or just my keyboard cam or mouse cam, whatever I want to do with that. Anyway, that's not the point. We're going to be going into settings, and we're going to be going into output. Now, take a note of what this shows here. Output mode is on advanced. This is normally going to be set to simple. You want to change that to advanced. I can't do that now since I'm recording with OBS. However, you want to go to the recording tab since that is what we're going to be focusing on. You want to change your recording path to wherever you find, to record your videos to. I like to use MP4. It's probably the most common output in terms of recording, and I just like to have the ability to use MP4 just in case I need to send some footage off to somewhere, or I need to use it in a different editing program, for instance. Now, audio tracks for me, I actually like to record in 3 different audio tracks. So this would be my microphone, my Discord or TeamSpeak, and then my game sounds. I like to just do this so just in case one is accidentally too loud, I can lower that down in the editing process. So my encoder is NVIDIA NVENC. I have no idea how this is pronounced. However, with my graphics card, this is what it came with. You want to use the one associated with your graphics card. So I know AMD might have their own. However, I have an NVIDIA one, so I just set it to this. If you have integrated graphics, set it to X264. You're not really going to get much better than that. So your rescale output, you want this at 1080. Now, this is what's important. You're going to want to change for this from CBR to CQP. And the reason why is it just ends up not losing as many frames as CBR in my opinion. I've just had a lot more consistent frame rate in game, and I've had actually higher FPS in game while recording when I've actually used CQP. Now the CQ level, I like to put it at 24. You can experiment with this. I've seen people go up to 30. I've seen people go down to 5. Just experiment with this number. This is the number that I've always relied on, and it's always, brought me a good quality video. Keyframe interval, I just have this at 0. My preset, I like to have at max quality. If your computer can't really handle it, put your preset to performance or quality. It doesn't have to be at max quality. I just like to have the best quality possible on my videos. That's why I have it as max. The profile, I like to have it at high. GPU at 0. The max B frames at 2. I'm not really quite sure what these 2 options do. However, I've just kept it at 0 and 2, and it's worked perfectly fine for me. So my audio, there's nothing really special here. I like to have my desktop audio 2, and my mic, which is my voice meter. If you want to refer to my first tutorial in order to make your mic sound a lot better, be sure to go do that. Link will be the first one in the description. So the video, this is probably one of the most important things as well. Put your base and your output resolution at the resolution you want to record in. So let's say you want to record in 720p. If your computer can't really handle 1080p, a full 1080p at 240 FPS, downscale this to 720p, or change the numerator value of the FPS to a lower number. I actually have my FPS value set at fractional. I like to have this so I can change it above 60, but even with 60, it'll still be smooth when you apply these certain render settings, which I'm going to show you in a second. Put your downscale filter at bicubic. I've never really touched with that. But yeah, like I said, I just record in 1080, 240. There's a lot of different combinations you can do. Trust me, just experiment with it. Your PC will know when it's had enough and when it's reached its limit. So advanced, put your process priority. I like to have it at normal since I do actually have an AMD, and that's an 8-core processor. It's a Ryzen 7, so it should be able to handle, whatever it needs to handle. Realistically, if the process priority is at high, I bet it could still handle it no problem, but I've just left it alone knowing that my CPU will handle it regardless. Renderer, you want to put this at Direct 3D 11. Color format, color space. I actually like to have my color space set at 601. I know people like to have it in the 700s and the color range at full. I've just seen my videos look a lot more exploded in color than I really wanted it to. I just like these settings. They work perfectly fine for me. Now I'm going to be showing you what I actually use to render out my videos, and this is where a lot of the magic actually happens in terms of the motion blur and the smoothness of the videos itself. Now, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to change a few things in your settings. So whenever you put a new project, I like to have my width at 1920, height at 1080. Obviously, your frame rate should be at 59.940. It can be at 60 exactly. It doesn't really matter as long as it's around there. That should be fine. This is what I use, by the way, so don't worry, I'm not making up any settings. Pixel format at 8-bit, full resolution rendering quality. I like to have this at best, so it has the best just quality. Now the motion blur type, this is where this is important. You want to have this at a Gaussian motion blur, and you want to have the resample mode at smart resample. This is what will blend the frames together and make the video actually look smooth. Once you're done with this, click OK and import your videos. And there's a few things I need to mention when you actually do import your videos. So this is what importing a video would look like for me. I would just drag a video that I already have in my other hard drive into Vegas. Now, this is important. You want to set your project video settings? No, because what this is going to do is it's going to change your project settings based on the media that you drag in. We don't want that. We want to have our project settings the way that we just set them up. So the video might take a while to import. I know mine do, since they're such high quality after I'm done recording them. So when you're done editing your video, you want to select a portion of what you actually want to render with this little gray line thing. And then you want to click File, Render As. Now, this step's important. I actually have presets ready to go for rendering. However, you will not, most likely. So I'm going to tell you the settings, exactly what you need to have in order to render. So you're going to want to scroll down to Windows Media Video version 11.wmv, whatever this means. I just use this format. It uploads to YouTube, no problem. I mentioned earlier how I like to use MP4. .wmv is just as good. It plays on most systems, no problem. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to head to the 8 megabytes HD 1080/30. And you're going to want to change these settings to the one I have here. So don't worry about this. I already have this setting, or I already have these presets set up. So this is where you're going to want to have for your audio. This is where you're going to want to have for your video. You want to have it at CBR, Windows Media Video 9, image size custom. Now, I like to actually export in 1440p, and this is because YouTube actually uses a separate encoder for these types of videos. For higher quality videos, they tend to look a lot better on the site. If you're just rendering in 1080p and your video doesn't really pick up much traction, it'll render in a lower codec, and this makes your video look a lot less smooth. It looks a lot less HD, I'll just say that much. So the frame rate, you want to put it at 60. Pixel aspect ratio, make sure you put this at square or else it'll look like a movie trailer. Seconds per keyframe 5. Check this, put this at 3. Video smoothness, I like to put this at 100. The bitrate you want to have at 360M. Now, this is megabytes. This is a really, really high bitrate. So if your computer, once again, cannot handle quite the settings I'm using, just experiment with this number a little bit. It's going to take a little while for you to get your video renders perfect. It definitely took me, I'd say, a month or two to actually perfect this. But now, ever since I've been using it, it's been consistent and it's never let me down. So yeah, I would just go for project, use project settings for video rendering quality. Use project settings, color space default, because we already set our settings for best in all of the options. So when we're done, you actually want to save this preset. I actually forgot to do this. You can just save it under a separate name. I called mine YouTube, so I can just click this, and every time I want to render a video, it'll render out perfectly fine. So yeah, that is pretty much it for this tutorial. I'm going to pass it back to narrator Mantif here. If you want to end off the video, that'd be great. But yeah, I hope you guys learned something from this, and if you guys have any questions or concerns, be sure to leave them in the comments section below, and I will try to answer as many as I can. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If it did help you, be sure to leave a like and also subscribe if you are new to the channel. Of course, I'm going to try to get some new videos out for you guys later this week, so be sure to stay tuned for that. I have nothing really else to say. It has been Mantif. Peace, peace.